Planning a trip to Bangkok? This bustling city has so much to offer, from stunning temples and vibrant street markets to delicious food and exciting nightlife. But before you go, there are a few things you should know to make the most of your visit. In this video, I'll share essential tips that will help you navigate Bangkok like a pro. But before we start, welcome to Travel Wisdom. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have any questions or other tips to share? Drop them in the comments below. Check out the links in the description. Watch out for the difference between tourist prices and local prices. In Bangkok, it's common to encounter a tourist price versus a local price, especially in popular tourist areas. Tourist prices are often much higher than what locals pay for the same goods or services. This can happen in markets, taxis, restaurants, and when booking tours. Vendors may assume tourists are less familiar with the true cost of things or have a bigger budget, so they raise prices accordingly. For example, in some markets near tourist hotspots, a souvenir or a piece of street food might be double or triple the price you'd find in a local market away from the main attractions. Tuk-tuk drivers might quote tourists a higher fare, especially if they suspect it's their first time in Bangkok. Even some restaurants have two different menus, one with higher prices in English for tourists and another with local prices in Thai. To avoid paying inflated prices, it's best to shop around, compare costs, and be willing to walk away if a price seems too high. Learning a few Thai phrases can also help build a connection and potentially get you a fairer price. If possible, shop or eat where locals go, away from the major tourist areas. In taxis, insist on using the meter instead of agreeing to a flat fare. Being aware of the tourist price phenomenon can save you a good amount of money and help you experience Bangkok like a local. Monsoon season and weather in Bangkok. Bangkok has a tropical monsoon climate, which means it experiences three main seasons: the hot season from March to June, the rainy season from July to October, and the cooler season from November to February. During the rainy season, you can expect heavy downpours, especially in the afternoon or evening. Flooding can sometimes occur in certain areas, particularly in low-lying spots or near rivers. While the rain is usually short-lived, it can be intense, with sudden storms and gusty winds. To stay safe during the monsoon season, it's a good idea to carry an umbrella or raincoat and be prepared for possible flooding. Check the weather forecast regularly, and if you're caught in a heavy downpour, try to find shelter until the storm passes. Avoid walking through flooded areas, as water can be deeper than it appears, and there may be hidden hazards. Staying flexible with your plans is key, as the weather can change quickly, but don't let the rain stop you from enjoying Bangkok. Bangkok mostly slows down during the Thai New Year. During the Thai New Year, also known as Songkran, Bangkok essentially shuts down as the city becomes a massive celebration. Songkran typically takes place from April 13th to 15th, although festivities can extend for several days. It's one of the most important holidays in Thailand, marking the start of the traditional solar year. Songkran is most famous for its water fights. Locals and tourists alike take to the streets armed with water guns, buckets, and hoses to splash water at each other. It's believed that splashing water during Songkran symbolizes washing away bad luck and sins and welcoming the new year with a clean slate. The water fights can get wild, especially in popular areas like Khao San Road and Silom. Beyond the water fights, Songkran is also a time for family gatherings, visiting temples, and paying respects to elders. People often clean their homes, and many take part in the sand pagoda building, where they create small structures of sand at temples as a symbol of good fortune. Traditional rituals also include the Rod Nam Dum Hua ceremony, where younger people pour fragrant water over the hands of their elders as a sign of respect. During Songkran, many businesses close, and public transport can be affected due to the street celebrations. Hotels and tourist areas remain busy, but the overall atmosphere in Bangkok is much more relaxed compared to usual. If you're visiting during this time, be prepared to get wet and join in the festivities. But also be aware that traffic may be slow and some services may be limited. It's a fun, unique experience, but it's wise to plan ahead for any closures or delays. How to not get scammed in a taxi. In Bangkok, it's crucial to make sure a taxi driver turns on the meter before you get in. While many taxis in the city are reliable, some drivers, especially around tourist areas, might try to scam tourists by not using the meter or starting it at a very high fare. This can lead to significantly overpaying for your ride. When a driver doesn't use the meter, they might give you a flat rate, which is often much higher than what the metered fare would be. The starting rate for a taxi meter in Bangkok is relatively low, but when it's not turned on, you may be quoted an inflated price that could be 2 to 3 times higher than the actual fare. In some cases, drivers may also claim that the meter is broken or try to convince you that a flat rate is standard for tourists. While there are situations where drivers genuinely have technical issues with their meters, it's always a red flag when this excuse is given without a clear explanation. To avoid being overcharged, here's what you should do. Ask for the meter. When you first get into the taxi, politely ask the driver to turn on the meter. If they hesitate or refuse, it's best to get out and find another taxi. Check the starting fare. The starting fare for the meter should be 35 baht, and the fare increases slightly as you travel, depending on the distance and time. If the driver starts the meter at a much higher rate, it could indicate a scam. Know the average fares. Familiarize yourself with typical taxi fares in Bangkok for common routes. This way, you'll have an idea of what a fair fare should be, and you can spot any suspicious overcharging. Use taxi apps. In recent years, rideshare apps like Grab have become popular alternatives. These apps set a fare up front, reducing the risk of being scammed. By insisting on the meter, you're ensuring that you're paying a fair price for your ride. Taxi drivers in Bangkok are generally honest, but always stay alert to avoid falling for common tourist traps. If a taxi driver refuses the meter or gives a high flat rate, it's best to walk away and find another cab. How to stay safe in a tuk-tuk. Tuk-tuks are a popular and iconic way to get around in Thailand, especially in busy cities like Bangkok. These small, open-air vehicles are a fun and unique mode of transportation, but they can also be a bit tricky when it comes to pricing and safety. First, it's important to note that tuk-tuk fares are typically negotiated before you hop in. Unlike taxis, they don't use meters, so make sure to agree on a price before starting the ride. Be cautious of tuk-tuk drivers who might quote you an unusually low fare, as it could be a setup for a scam. Sometimes the low price is just the beginning, and the driver might take you on a long detour to places where they get commission or charge extra for stops, like stores or tourist traps. To avoid being scammed, always confirm the route and price before you get in. If a fare seems too good to be true, it probably is. The price can vary depending on distance and location. If you're unsure, don't hesitate to ask a local or check your route on a map to avoid unnecessary detours. Also, keep safety in mind. Tuk-tuk drivers are known for their fast, sometimes reckless driving, so it's important to hold on to the handle or any part of the vehicle that feels secure. These vehicles don't have doors or windows, so be extra careful, especially when driving in traffic or busy areas. Thanks for watching! I hope these tips help you have an amazing time in Bangkok. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more travel tips. Have any questions or other tips to share? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Safe travels and enjoy your trip to Bangkok. Check out the links in the description. See you in the next video. Bye!